everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite. Guys, I'm just going to throw a little caveat out there for today. I am a little bit sick. I have gastro, so I'm going to struggle through the show. We definitely could not cancel with a fire guest like the one that we have this week. I'm sure you all know who he is. He doesn't need an introduction, but he's getting one anyway. Randall, Thor 19, man, welcome to the show. How you doing? What have you been playing? What have you been up to? How's your week been?
Thank you guys for having me. What have I been doing? What have I been playing? Playing Saints Row a little bit on and off. Not a fan of the game. Been hoping it gets better, but kind of bored by it in the same way I was bored by Crackdown. And that's really it right now. I'm kind of waiting for the October drop of games, like Plague Tale. And what else is coming out in October? Modern Warfare 2 and Gotham Knights. So I'm going to try to finish Saints Row. But other than that, just chilling. Had some interesting Twitter posts this week. Got me, made some people pissed off a little bit here and there, which is always fun. But
little toxicity out there, Ryan. A little toxicity.
Ain't nothing toxic about it. I was only talking about Jim Ryan. I didn't say PlayStation was bad or anything. Just talking. I'm just talking about Jim crying dance moves line Ryan.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Ryan. You just have to mention the guy's name. I'll introduce the panel and we'll get moving on the topics for the week, guys. In the chat, you guys are amazing here every week. Firing up the show. It is going to be a bit of a shorter one because I am sick. As I said, I'm going to do my best. But DoomCutie, welcome back. How is your week? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for the chat. I'm loving the emojis, guys. I'm really, really loving it. So thank you. Thank you all. They make me very happy. This week, I've played a bit of Fortnite, as usual. I've been playing Tinykin, and I have been playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. If you like Animal Crossing and Disney, that is the game for you. It is so fun. It is so fun. Shut up, Brisket. Just because it's not down your alley. Goodness me.
Definitely
Hudson,
not my cup of tea.
I bet if you played that, Hudson would be like looking at the screen.
No, never. But Tinykins, I can agree with you on. That's pretty good. I did play that when it first came out, just about half an hour of it. I was really enjoying it. So Tinykins is definitely one to get onto if you haven't seen it. And it is kind of one of those ones you look at and go, what the hell is this? But it's good. I recommend it.
That's
110.
great. Yeah. Well, we can agree on that then, Risket. For once, we'll agree on something.
Definitely. Dreamlight Valley is not my cup of tea. But Pete, JediKnightPete, how has your week been? How's your sleep been? I heard you were up late last night smashing on Halo.
Yeah, Halo dragged me back in the happening event. It's actually really good, guys. It's basically like the community game nights we played. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Me and Umbra were smashing a little bit of that, not too much. But I've been enjoying Immortals: Phoenix Rising. That game's got its tentacles into me all the way. Absolutely love it. So yeah, I've pretty much been playing that. Disney's thing was a little bit disappointing last night. However, 5 hours ago, Halo released their first official Forge footage, and that looked pretty damn awesome. So yeah, awesome to have Randall Thor, the one and only man with a million, and yeah, looking forward to getting into this.
Absolutely. Umbra, how you doing, man? How has your week been? Thanks for coming back every week, chopping it up with us. What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Man, I went back to Mad Max. We kept talking about it in some chats and party chats and whatever, and I was like, you know what? Let me just play this. It had been since 2015 since I touched this game. I'm like, wow, it's been a long time. So it's actually refreshing to get back to it and get back into it. But my achievements are looking terrible this month. As some people have reached out and told me. But yeah, that, and I played a bit of Tinykin again. So I have to get back into that and finish that up. Yeah, man, and I'm excited to have the man with the million and millions. Oh, I'm sorry. Half Brand here with us tonight. Appreciate you coming through, brother. My Chi-Town homie. And yeah, we'll try to keep it a little quick for not only yourself, but for Riskit. It's not feeling too well tonight.
When's this hot weather gonna end, Umbra?
No, man. Go away though. I hate it. I'm not a fan of the summer at all.
Yeah.
We get a question from the chat, and then I'll just jump straight onto that. Hargate and guys in the chat, if you do have a question, type question in your chat. It will highlight it for me, and I will ask the panel. Question from Hargate Channy: when will Jim, Cryan, Ryan tell Nintendo they've had Mario for too long and need to think about the PlayStation gamers? Yes,
got to think about the impact of the gamers, the PlayStation gamers.
Yeah,
about not having Mario or Zelda. You got to think about that. And Hargeet, it's Jim crying dance moves line Ryan now. I've coined it.
Oh, that is absolute gold. Look, we are going to talk about Jim Ryan and what he said about the ABK deal and Phil Spencer. And there's nothing like a good console war, especially when the CEOs go at it. But just briefly,
I love the names that Phil Spencer has: Phil Maximus Aurelius Spencer and Jim Lion Ryan. It's a little bit of a difference there.
It is absolutely. Look, I'll jump straight into the topics. First one off the rack for this week is look, Colt Eastwood did a video the other day, and he mentioned that Deathloop may be dropping in September. And look, I did a little bit of research. I went and had a look at PlayStation's contracts, those leaks they had a few weeks ago, and did a little bit of research into it. And I'm kind of the opinion that I think he's probably right. I don't think it'll drop on the 15th, but Deathloop's contract began when it launched, and that was on September the 14th. And if you go through Sony PlayStation's contracts, they usually have a bite at the cherry, or they get first bite at the cherry for their subscription services towards the end of the contract. It does say that there's a caveat in the contract. It does say that it's possible they can put it in earlier, but from what I'm reading, it sounds very, very much like it's something that happens towards the end of the life of the contract. And we don't know if that contract was to go for 1, 2, 3, 4, however many years, but it seems very much like it's going to be a 1-year thing. So, Rand, I was going to go to you and just get your thoughts. Do you think we'll be seeing Deathloop drop into Game Pass this month?
So, a couple months ago, I've been saying, you know what? Deathloop, I played it on the PS5, by the way. It's a great game. I can't wait for Xbox fans to be able to play a new first-party title, right? I was thinking, all right, it's going to come this year, but maybe it'll come in October or November, right? Because I felt like, oh, Microsoft's probably going to want to talk about this game. They're not going to want to shadow drop it. They're going to be like, hey, we got a new game for Arcane coming, so it would come in October or November. I now think it is launching in September. Yes, I definitely think it's coming this month. I don't know what date. Could be the 15th, because the deal ended on the 14th. They could just be like, all right, Deathloop's out, here you go. I'm thinking it will launch on the 20th, which is the same day it comes to PlayStation Plus. My reasoning is basically similar to yours. I did take a look at the Resident Evil 8 marketing leak contract that was floated around. And they talk about like, hey, for the exclusivity, if you want to put it in our subscription, we get first rights of refusal. Like, you basically have to come to us. But they said once that 1-year exclusivity ends, they are allowed to put their game in competing game subscription services. However, they have to offer it to PlayStation first. Right? So it wouldn't be exclusive. So for Deathloop to come into Game Pass, they would also have to offer the game to PlayStation Plus. And we know they accepted it, right? Because it's coming on the 20th. And if it does hit Xbox, it's definitely going into Game Pass. So my feeling is that on the 15th, you'll get an announcement from Xbox There'll be like a trailer. Maybe it's like Deathloop with new DLC or something. And they'll be like, it's finally coming to the Xbox platform, coming to Game Pass. And then it'll drop on the 20th, the 5 days later. That's kind of my line of thinking. But it could be a shadow drop. I'm just going to go with the 20th for now. But I do believe it is coming this month, when I used to believe it was coming in October or November. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, because they can't talk about it. They're legally bound to not basically talk about it until that contract's up, and that contract's up on the 14th. So yeah, that kind of fits in with the. If they do announce it on the 15th, that would be why you haven't heard anything about it up until now. Pete, I'll go to you. What are your thoughts on Deathloop coming this month?
I hope it's coming this month. I think that might be a little bit of hopium. Look, I actually agree with Rand. I think they're going to shadow drop it. I know that games like Forspoken have much bigger deals, like 2-year deals. I don't actually know. I would have loved to have known when Bethesda actually completed the deal with PlayStation, like how far or how much before the acquisition happened. Because if it was close and they knew that, there was a chance of them being picked up, I doubt that they would have entered into a 2-year contract. I also doubt that they would have extended the contract once the acquisition was done. In terms of what date, I don't think it'll shadow drop directly into the 15th. Because I think that they would want to give it some kind of marketing. And I don't think that they're allowed to. I think that you picked it up, Risket. The contract says that you can't market the game, which is a great pickup by you, mate. So if they can't market it until the 15th, I would say that they would give it like at least a week of marketing, saying that this is going to be coming to Game Pass. It's a big first-party IP, by Arcane Studios, one of their big studios that they acquired with. Redfall coming out, early in 2023. So it would be really good to showcase a little bit of their talents before Redfall drops, and get people even more hyped for that game. So I'm not sure if it's hopium, but I'm going to go with it is releasing sometime this year.
Yeah.
What is hopium? What is that? Well, I've never heard that before, Pete.
Never heard of hopium?
No.
That means they're inhaling something that gives them hope.
Like
essentially,
opium, but
opium.
Yeah. Oh, and copium is what PlayStation fans are doing right now.
Oh.
Toxic,
All right,
toxic
Toxic
Pete.
Pete's here.
Yeah, Toxic Pete.
Yeah, DoomCutie, what do you think? Do you think we'll see
Yeah.
Deathloop coming this month, or do you think it'll be something that we don't see for quite some time?
No, you know what? I agree. I think they'll drop it around the 20th. And yeah, I'm actually really excited for it to come to Xbox. I think they're just going to move into a stronger environment, and I think they'll get a lot more players, and especially with Redfall coming, I honestly, it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I can play it on my PS5, but I kind of just.
No, I have a PS5 too.
Yeah, I
but
know.
I just haven't bought it, and I find PS Plus just, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't like the
No, there's
controller.
Plus.
My thing is I'd rather play it on an Xbox with an Xbox controller because that just works for me.
Yeah.
But
I swear, it's that left stick. It's the left stick.
yeah, they're symmetrical. Yeah, it's an issue. Umbra, I'll go to you, man. What do you think we'll see Deathloop coming? What date are you picking for this to land this month?
I mean, before, I think we all kind of agreed it would be the 15th. At least that's what the conventional thought was, since we all knew it ended on the 14th. When we all talked about this before. I'm not too sure, man. I feel like for some strange reason, and I know they couldn't really talk about it, or they can't really talk about it, but for some strange reason, I feel like it's not going to release this month, seeing how it's on PS Plus. Something makes me feel like, oh, well, can't they have to honor that for some reason or something like that? Maybe a month after, it feels like to me in my head, but maybe I don't know. I just, something feels shady about when the Sony does something and has it coming to their platform. It makes me feel like Xbox is going to have to wait for some strange reason. But if anything, if it doesn't come this month, I feel like next month it'll drop, and it'll probably, like Rance pointed out, probably have something special with it, maybe some special edition type feature or something like that, or something, the game of the year edition or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's my thinking. I don't know if it'll come this month. I'm not too sure of that one way or another. I
Well,
hope it comes this month. We need some damn AAA game, but yeah.
yeah, well, fingers
Although,
crossed,
is that
man.
AAA?
I hope we get it. I
Uh,
mean, I think it is AAA. Yeah, definitely AAA. It's got
yeah.
I think that October that Rand mentioned. I think it was earlier in the green room, or actually no, it was on show. That October is going to open the floodgates. I think it's going to be game after game after game after game after game, and we're going to be flat out all the way into 2023. Look, I'll jump on to the next topic. I just noted Elise 187 Xbox is dead here in Australia. Mine still runs. You should probably get that looked at. And chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. We'll move on to the next topic. I don't know what you call him, Rand. Jim Ryan Lion Dancing. What are we calling him?
Jim crying, dance moves, line Ryan.
Jim crying, dance moves, Lion Ryan. Yeah, well, he is shifting around, and yeah, he's definitely got a fair bit to say about the ABK deal. I'll just read out the excerpt from the interview that he gave, and we'll move into the topic. He said, when he was talking to GamesIndustry.biz, I hadn't intended to comment on what I understood to be a private business discussion, but I feel the need to set the record straight because Phil Spencer brought this into the public forum. Shots fired. I think he likes Phil, though. I can kind of tell from that, just that little comment. He said Microsoft has only offered for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony ends, which would roughly be, I believe, 2024. That's 5 years. You greedy prick. After almost 20 years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take account of the impact on our gamers. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience, and Microsoft's proposal undermines this principle. Oh, wow. There's so much to say about this. Hey, is exactly what he's doing. He's just crying, man. I mean, this is a company that's money had absolutely everything last generation. I mean, even coming into this generation, the dude's buying fetch quests in Harry Potter. Like,
Right.
this is you can't. I don't understand this dude. Like, does he? I mean, who's he talking to? He's obviously not talking to gamers because we know what's going on. He must be talking to the FTC, dude. Because I mean, you can't
Are you saying that Jim Ryan is out there snitching?
You can't. Yeah, you can't do all these things. You can't money hat games. You can't, buy fetch quests. Corner the marketing for. I mean, they've done it with Destiny. They've done it with Call of Duty. They've done it with heaps of things that offer things to their gamers that we don't get on Xbox. And then when someone's going to buy that IP, you're gonna cry about it. Oh wow. There's so much to say about this. I'll go to you, Umbra, and just get your opinion on what Ryan had to say about the ABK deal. But I think that this is cool. We're going to see a bit of a war heating up.
There's no other way around it. Like Rock said in the comment section, Jim Ryan is out there snitching. Snitches get no Call of Duty. That's the new saying. No, basically it's just a lot of crying, man. It's a lot of unprofessionalism too, it seems like, because I don't understand how he jumped to that. And the whole thing of it's inadequate and all of that, it's like, you do know that they own, or they're going to own this property now, right? They don't owe you anything, or your customers, to be fair. No shade to the PlayStation actual, fans or whatever, but they don't owe you anything. So to hear that, and actually will read that rather, it's just so weird to me. Especially knowing that if it was on PlayStation, it wouldn't even be a question. He wouldn't have sent Phil a letter of anything, unless it was like sucks to suck or something like that. That's maybe what he would have sent them, But it wouldn't have been anything like, every 3 years we'll extend it beyond the standard norms. It wouldn't have been anything nice. It would have been understood that it would have been exclusive to PlayStation, and all of us know it. All of us understand that the media would not be downplaying it or being negative about it. We all know this, and I think Jim knows it, and that's why he did what he did. It's a calculated move to make them look like the poor, hapless Sony, and Xbox look like, Microsoft at least look like the maniacal corporation that they had this negative stigma for so long. That's all that was, and it's to obviously try to stop the deal from going through. But as anybody knows, the terms that Phil had gave him was more than fair. I mean, it's not talking about removing it all the way. It was simply talking about they'll have to renegotiate a deal after those 3 years.
Well, that's
more than fair.
To that point, like it's that the rumor is, and I don't think this has been confirmed, and maybe Rand, you could tell us if it's been confirmed, but the rumor is that they've got the marketing rights until 2024. So if you're tacking on a 3-year deal to the end of that, that's almost the life of the generation, Umbra.
Pretty much, exactly. And it's more than fair, like you said. I mean, Phil could be more. If it was me, I would be petty. I promise I would. I would be very petty. I'd be like, oh, you like leaking things out, huh? Our private discussion. And I would be like, okay, so this is the new deal. Now you'll get Call of Duty, Warzone, but you won't get the mainline games. That's what I would do. But I guess at the end of the day, Microsoft has to look out for the bottom line. And at the moment, keeping it on Sony might be more profitable for them. So I don't know how that'll play out. But I think there's something to be said about having it be exclusive to the platform too, that could actually bring them more subs. So it's all to see how they'll let that play out, I guess, in the long run. But petty me with no business sense would absolutely ruin that for PlayStation and their fans. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think he's talking to gamers, and how is he? I don't know how they think they're not going to get called out for this shit, or if they think the FTC doesn't have anything to do with, the wider community or know anything about gaming. I mean, they mustn't know anything about gaming if he thinks he can get away with. This is just bullshit, really. Rand, I'm going to go to you. I just found this pretty hilarious, this whole thing that's going backwards and forwards. What were your thoughts on what Ryan had to say about Spencer's contract or deal?
Well, I had some pretty extensive thoughts in my video yesterday. I don't know if any of you guys watched it, but I'll basically give you the Cliff Notes version of it. I found that whole statement by Jim completely disingenuous because, one, he starts off by saying that they only offered us a deal of 3 years. It's like, well, you should be grateful that they offered you anything in the first place. They didn't have to offer you a 3-year deal. It could have been a 1-year deal. It could have been nothing, right? And we all know if the shoe was on the other foot and it was PlayStation that was acquiring Activision, there'd be no question about whether or not the game was going to be multi-platform or exclusive. It would be exclusive to PlayStation. Everybody knows that. So this idea that Phil's out here Jim's out here being like, they only offered us this, I just had a nice laugh at. And then he talks about how, you got to think about the 20 years it's been on PlayStation and how this is going to impact our gamers. It's like, it's not Microsoft's job to think about how it impacts someone else's customers, right? Microsoft's job is to keep their customers and their gamers happy. They shouldn't need to be worried about the impact of somebody else's customers, first and foremost, right? And then by even saying that, it's like, Jim, are you also thinking of the impact of your gamers when you're raising prices of a console and an inflation, raising prices of games, basically nickel and diming your entire fan base in this entire generation? Are you thinking about the impact that will have on your gamers? Realistically, he's worried not about the impact on their gamers. He's worried about the impact on Sony's revenue and their revenue projections and profit and loss sheets extending into the future. That's what he cares about, because my guy, Jim Crying Dance Moves Line Ryan, is a cold-hearted businessman, right? He's not a gamer. He's a businessman. It's all about numbers, profits to him. So he's thinking about them losing billions of dollars of revenue, Sony potentially selling less consoles, less games, while also their direct competitor getting stronger. Microsoft taking market share away from PlayStation directly, having Game Pass grow, which we know Sony's really afraid of, really worried about. So he's not worried about the impact of gamers. He's worried about the impact on Sony's bottom line. And the whole idea, and then he makes mention about like, you know, parity and features and like PlayStation gamers deserve the best or whatever the hell it is. It's like, bro, like, stop it with this bullshit. Like, last generation, you paid Activision to keep Call of Duty content off of Xbox for a year. You did the same for Destiny. You just bought something for Hogwarts, a mission. Like, you've engaged in these type of practices to make it so the Xbox version or even the Nintendo version, the PC version, is a lesser experience than the PlayStation version. And I get that from a business point of view where you want to drive people to your console. However, you can't go and complain about Microsoft owning Call of Duty and then say PlayStation gamers deserve parity when you've been engaged in marketing deals and exclusives where you're keeping things off of Xbox and other platforms for years and years and years and then gate locking content. It makes you come across as completely disingenuous, and I can see through everything he's talking about here. He doesn't care about PlayStation gamers. Like, he views them as piggy banks, right? It's why they've raised prices on virtually everything. I mean, they just put out a revised PS5 that costs less for them to make, and at the same time raise prices on the system to increase their profit margin. And they'll blame economic hardships and inflation, but they feel they can get away with it because they're Sony. And you can tell that, you know, Jim Ryan and PlayStation lawyers are talking to these FTCs and the Brazilian Commission and the CME behind the scenes, because it seems like, at least from what we've seen from the Brazilian stuff and the CME, that they're more worried about protecting Sony's number one market share than they are actual competition and consumers. Like, Sony's almost had these people convinced that taking COD away from PlayStation is bad for PlayStation, therefore it's bad for consumers, right? And I think it frustrates Jim that Xbox is doing this. I bet you they never thought in a million years Xbox would buy something like Activision. Like, sure, you buy Bethesda, and Jim Ryan and the people there are probably like, we would have liked to have had them. But at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal because Bethesda, the Todd Howard teams only put out a game like once every 5 years. The Arcane games, they don't really sell very much, right? Doom, you know, id's only putting out a game every 3-4 years. Like, as much as I love all the Bethesda games, they don't really come out that often. And really, the only big sellers are the Todd Howard ones, and they come out like, what, you maybe get 2 in a decade? So Sony's like, it's no big deal. It's not, you know, it's nothing to worry about. They didn't even care. They didn't care when they bought Bethesda, right? There was no comments. But the second they bought Activision Blizzard, panic mode went on because they immediately responded to the press being like, well, we expect Xbox to honor these Activision deals, right? Like, they were out there being like, you better, because this is important. And then you saw how important it was because they talked to the Brazilian Commission. We saw their answers. Like, Call of Duty is a must-have, and nobody can make a game like this. And, you know, we would essentially fold shop if we lost it, even though the Nintendo Switch doesn't have a Call of Duty game and it's doing just fine. So it's just fun to see the drama between a $1 trillion corporation and a $1 billion corporation, between the market leader, whose whole business model has been modeled around the idea of exclusives. And it started out by basically locking down a whole bunch of third-party exclusives. That's how they got into the industry. That's how they got strong. And now they're dumbfounded and shocked that Xbox is taking perhaps the biggest third-party game out there and making exclusives, and they're throwing a fit. They're doing everything they can behind the scenes to get the deal blocked. I firmly believe that. They do not want Xbox to own Call of Duty. They want that to remain multi-platform. because it's best for PlayStation. So I just kind of view Jim Ryan in this regard as just a whiner and a complainer. I'd use more harsh language, but it's YouTube. He in my title I called it PlayStation Cries and Complains. Again, I mean that's exactly what they're doing here. Phil doesn't have to offer any of the he doesn't have to offer PlayStation anything. Sure, he offered him because they were probably thinking, okay, the governments might require us to let Call of Duty or to have Call of Duty remain on PlayStation, so we'll jump in front of it. And Phil's like, hey, here's a 3-year contract. But that doesn't necessarily mean once the 3 years is up, it's going to go exclusive, because you can always renegotiate, right? Sure. It's not like Minecraft, where Minecraft is a game that just exists. It's just one single game that exists from, the time it was on PlayStation to the end of time. These Call of Duty games are individual releases. You need to sign contracts for each individual release. So it makes sense that Xbox is going to be like, well, okay, we'll extend it for 3 years. What did Jim Ryan think? That they were going to get a 10-year contract? That they were going to get a contract where Phil Spencer says, we'll offer you Call of Duty in perpetuity? What was their thought process?
Yeah, exactly. What business is ever going to say that you're going to get a game in perpetuity? Forever. I mean, it's never going to happen. And I agree with absolutely everything you said, Rand. I just wanted to quickly point out that Hargeet has dropped a code in the chat, everyone. Thank you, Hargeet. You're too generous, brother. I really appreciate it, mate. Everyone does.
Swarm on it like flies, everybody. Hurry!
Yeah, let us, guys. If you do get the code, just let us know in the chat that you got the code, and don't forget to thank Hargeet. It really bothers me when people don't do that. Look, we'll
Before you go, Riz. Before you go, I wanted to point out. I don't know if you all saw this, but Benji Sales shared it earlier. PlayStation 5 has surpassed Nintendo Switch to become the #1 selling platform for 2022 in the UK. They jumped 56% in August compared to July. This is before even the $50 hike right here. Mm-hmm. But they need,
not to mention the fact that they don't have as many out there in the wild as they would like, Umbra. So that's amazing numbers. I mean, this thing is selling like hotcakes. Yeah,
but poor Sony though.
Yeah, right. Woe is me, huh?
Please.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I have two thoughts on all of this. One is specifically that Jim Ryan is being quite the hypocrite. Now, obviously, I'm using really nice words compared to the rest of you. But the fact of the matter is, it was all fine. It's all fine when he's having the exclusive, but when another person starts to do it, then that's the issue. And he's having these very public feelings, and basically chucking a tantrum. So yeah, that's one thing that I find very interesting. Also, you can't be for exclusivity and then against exclusivity for other people. Like that it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. And
I just wanted to ask one question to Rand. Okay, so obviously the CMA and the FTC are looking into Microsoft, with the acquisition. Now, that means that they can look at other deals within the industry, does it not? And does that not believe can they look into Sony's tactics, like buy money having games like Destiny 2 and Spider-Man in Marvel Avengers and the numerous games they've done it with? Can they actually look into that? Although it's not Sony that is, in the bullseye of this FTC, because they're not the ones doing the acquisition. They are allowed to look at other deals within the industry. And won't that basically nullify Jim Ryan's points?
Sure, Microsoft's lawyers will do whatever they feel is best to, highlight the benefits of Microsoft owning Call of Duty and Activision, and downplay any of the potential side effects or bad things. So if one of those things is highlighting Sony's, how do I say this? If one of the ways they can do it is by highlighting Sony using their market leader position to get better deal parameters for exclusives than Xbox can, that's something they could potentially show and tell the regulators about and be like, look here, 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 and here, and here. You know, this is what they do. You know, blah, 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 blah. Whatever is going to help Xbox and Microsoft, the lawyers will do. You know, I mean...
It's crazy, Rand, because it goes directly against Jim Ryan's direct comments that they want parity within the Call of Duty game, and they're not providing that parity on, and there's numerous examples of it. So, I don't know, it just seems a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah, well, it is crazy. I mean, if anyone who plays games has spent any amount of time in any gaming ecosystem will know PlayStation exclusives are their bread and butter. That's what they do. And then Doomy, I think you pointed it out to then go and do a song and dance about a game, any game. It doesn't have to be Call of Duty. It could be any game. Being exclusive is just nuts. Like, it's craziness
do you think that like he's undervaluing like every other exclusive that they have.
Well, they're undervaluing a lot of their own studios, and I would point definitely to Bungie. I would point
it's not even really that. You got to think about it like this: Jim Ryan is protecting his business interest, and his business interest is for the deal not to go through. It's not that he's thrown anybody under the bus like Bungie or Insomniac or anybody. He is out there trying to convince people that maybe Phil's telling me one thing. They may be telling you something else, right? So like he's protecting PlayStation's business. And I mean, I think that's really all there is to it. They're just fighting in public over this. But his whole comments... I don't think he's
doing it on purpose. I think it's just...
it's totally on effect. Although I don't really think this really... Yeah. I don't really think this helps his case. But it's just... I'd love to see it, though. Because you don't see this sort of drama, right? I mean, he used Phil Spencer's government name. And that he called him out. Like, Phil Spencer said this. Like, oh, okay, so you know it's serious. Yeah, like...
Use his middle name and everything.
Yeah, it's
I'm not sure if you guys have thanked Hargeet for the other code, whoever got it, but there is another one in the chat, guys. Grab it quickly.
Thanks, Hargeet. One of my favorites, by the way. Actually, my favorite in the series, Black Flag.
Black Flag. Yeah, we got a bit to talk about with the Assassin's Creed. I think we've got that in the things, but I've got a few questions that I've got to that have come from the chat that I'll jump in and just ask. Mr. Bushido and Seven asked Rand, how is it working with a world famous celebrity like Jez? And is he really a diva or down to earth?
I mean, I get to interview him every week on the Xbox 2 podcast. No, Jez is awesome. He's definitely not a diva. I wouldn't do it. I personally can't stand divas or people with gigantic egos. So if he had any of those, I wouldn't be doing the podcast with him. So Jez is cool. Jez is
going.
Oh yeah, we got make sure you use code XP2 in the checkout for Manscaped. Got everything you need.
And we got another one for Rand as well.
I love your ads, bro. I love your ads on the show. They are just awesome.
Another question from Thimblewell, and he says, would be interesting Microsoft to release Deathloop in November as an offer to the delay of Starfield. Well, this game isn't enough to fill. So I think he's basically asking, is Deathloop enough to fill the gap that Starfield left? No, and I think that and I'll jump to the panel on this one in a minute as well. And Rand, I think he's asking you directly, but I don't think that fills the gap. But I think what Microsoft is doing is to fill that gap. Is pretty decent. To see what they're doing with, trying to get Liza P and a lot of these games that we're seeing come to Game Pass, from October onwards with Plague's Tale. And there's enough games there to fill that gap for sure. I mean, for me personally, Starfield was never going to be my number one game. I'm not a Bethesda game player. I just never have been. So for me personally, it suits me absolutely fine. I wasn't too worried. Redfall was one that I really, really wanted, was disappointed to see, so I guess Deathloop would fill that gap. But I think what Microsoft is doing to provide us with the value in Game Pass is fine. And I think it's only going to go up and up at this point. I don't see it going down. Looking to the future, looking at 2023, even looking at October, December, and onwards. So Rand, he was specifically asking you, what do you think? Do you think it fills the gap, Deathloop?
No, I don't think it fills the gap. I mean, it is a year old after all, right? And people have been anticipating Starfield since it was announced in 2018. They're not on comparable levels at all, in my opinion. Deathloop is just a nice game. I think part of its impact is lessened because it has been out for a year. So it's just going to be a cool game for us to have finally on Xbox. Nothing can replace Starfield, in my opinion. I get what your line of thinking. Like, all right, so Starfield was November, and we know we have Deathloop coming. Can we just slide it into November, and go from there? But it may not even be Xbox's decision. We know that Bethesda acts independently from Xbox, even though Phil basically oversees them. It could be up to Bethesda when they want to launch these games. Like, we don't really know how much true independence Bethesda has. They may be the ones being like, all right, it's coming out. You know what I mean? I guess that, maybe Phil would have discussions with the teams and decide on a release date. But I think it's just going to be like, all right, contract's over. We're going to announce it coming to Xbox, and next week it's available. And this is going to be that. And then you could have Deathloop, which is going to be a big ad for Game Pass. And then also, I believe Grounded is finally coming to 1.0 this month. You'll have a whole bunch of Game Pass games next month. And then, it's just kind of the ball starts rolling. And you get into early next year. I mean, I don't know. Early 2023 is starting to look pretty damn insane.
Mm-hmm. Even with third parties are like getting out of control with the amount.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting ridiculous how many games there are. Being delayed. I think the problem is, where are they going to stick? Try. How are they going to place all these games to try not to cannibalize, their first parties? And of course, they'd obviously worry about third parties as well. They don't want to cannibalize those. They want to keep those IPs that the third parties put in. The company's happy. They don't want to destroy a third party that's coming onto their system as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they drop all this stuff. I'll go to you, DoomCutie. What do you think? Sorry, it's the gastro kicking in and my brain's shut down. Do you think that Deathloop fills that gap, or do you think they're doing a good job with Game Pass? Or do you think?
No, I don't think Deathloop alone is going to fill that gap. I don't think anything will. But I will say there is lots to do. Like, people are out here complaining, oh, there's no games, Xbox has no games. That is a lie. That is an absolute lie. And if you think that there's nothing to play, then you're obviously bloody blind, honestly. Stop whinging. You sound like, what's his face? Dance McGee.
Yeah, I think most of the people that are saying that aren't really whinging. I think they're just firing shots that miss. Pete, what do you think? You think Deathloop, it fills the gap for Starfield? Do you think they're doing a good job with Game Pass, providing us with stuff that keep us busy?
I don't think anything fills the gap for Starfield. It's Bethesda's first new IP in 25 years. The guys that made Elder Scrolls, they're gaming royalty. So nothing will fill that gap. However, as much as Xbox can put into Game Pass, the better. Arcane are a fantastic studio. However, their games aren't for everybody. I love Dishonored and I love Prey, but their games aren't for everybody. I'm really looking forward to Deathloop. I hope it does hit. But, I mean, first-party IP really isn't, I've said it numerous times now, first-party IP isn't everything for Xbox now because we have Game Pass. We've got Plague's Tale Requiem coming in to Game Pass, later on in the year. I'm really, really looking forward to that game. I love the first game. Asobo should be a first-party studio, if you ask me. And, we've named them numerous times. There are a lot of games coming into Game Pass at the end of the year. So, no, I don't think it fills the gap, but I really do hope it adds to, the games that we're already getting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. I nailed through my backlog. I've still got a few more games to get through, like Mad Max and Umbra's playing as one of them. There's always something to play, man. And Xbox definitely provides, or Game Pass specifically, definitely provides, plenty for you to sink your teeth in. Even Tinykin. Yeah. I think Tinykin was like one of those games I just had no idea was coming and saw it and clicked on it and had a bit of a play. And it's good. I'm really enjoying it. So I think there's definitely always something out there to play. But does anything replace Starfield? No. Umbra, what do you think? Do you think Deathloop?
We gotta Risk. I don't understand how you Jedi, you all are veterans in this game. Ran to like, how are you all talking about all these games we're missing when we got the game of the year Peppa Pig released? What are you all talking about? What are we talking about here? Huh?
I know.
Hello. Like, come on, stop it. No, seriously.
Wait,
though.
I didn't see your Peppa Pig character. I wonder.
Peppa Pig cunts.
Peppa Pig.
Shout out to Timmy.
Oh yeah. By the way, who's oddly not in the chat tonight. But anyway, world, what happened to him? Anyway, so no, getting back though. It's like you said, Jedi. It's like we have so much more to look forward to. My backlog is so crazy. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. And Rand, I'm sure you have a crazy backlog too, because you're busy as well. But and reading all the time and getting knowledge and stuff and getting more intelligent. But my backlog is so crazy, and I still go back to games like Mad Max, which I've already beaten and got most of the achievements for. So it's something like that that's going to hinder me and slow me down too. So I'm going back to games I've played, and then I have backlog of games I did not touch yet. So I'm not without it. It's no shortage of games for me to play. But like you said, Pete, we got Plague Tale Requiem coming up.
I'm on Life. Scorn. I did Atomic Heart. I think might have got pushed back, but it's still there. Callisto Protocol.
We have Pentiment.
A lot. Most of these games that I mentioned, except for Callisto, are going into Game Pass day and date. So there's so much, isn't there, Umbra? I mean, too much, some would say.
It's a lot. As Steph said, he said, Peppa Pig is nothing compared to Disney Dreamlight Valley. And then what you playing, Cutie?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. And you know what? Xbox Game Pass, you get the Founders Pack. So if you want to play it on any other like PC, PlayStation, whatever, you have to pre-purchase the game because it's currently in beta. So with Xbox Game Pass, you get all the cute little things. You get cute little donut Mickey ears and a little T-shirt and some stuff for your house. It's great.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
Yeah, so we got all of that, and it's kind of like what Bushido said. He got his backlog, and then he got the Game Pass backlog. It's the same for me, and Hargeet, it's like he had 150 games in his. Mine's is either about the same or more. So I feel you exactly, bro. But it's no shortage of games for us to play. I do understand people who want to get the new thing. It's always shiny and new and special. But I don't think that we're hurting over here. I think that's just the narrative people push, and it's the obvious popular thing. Xbox has no games, but we're all right. Next year will be even better for us, and I hate to go into the next year, wait until next year thing, but I think we'll be fine.
Oh, it's the standard Twitter response to just about anything. If you're talking to a Sony bloke, it's Xbox got games. Well, but the thing is, we don't have it. Like they haven't had any large AAA's released this year. Yep. Sure, absolutely. But there's plenty to play. Look, I'll go to KY Bob's question, then we'll get moving on the topics. KY Bob, obviously Microsoft will flex COD in Game Pass. If Sony tried to do the same thing in PS Plus to combat that, do we think Microsoft would let that fly? Well, they'd have to sign a deal, but Rand, I'll go to you. Do you think that Microsoft would allow COD to go to PS Plus? I don't see it happening.
Depends on whatever the contract is. Depends on whatever the stipulations are. They very well, let's take Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, for example, right? Sony's marketing is going to prevent that from coming to Game Pass day one. But it's even not like the deal is going to even be completed this year. It's going to be completed next year. But let's say Microsoft finally is able to put it in a year after launch, right? I bet you they probably also have to offer it to PlayStation, similar to how I think the Deathloop deal is constructed, right? Where it would change is essentially when Microsoft, gets out from underneath Activision's contract after 2024. So there is a good chance that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Treyarch's game do end up in Game Pass, do end up in PlayStation Plus, because Microsoft will add them to Game Pass after a year, and that they're like legally, contractually obligated to offer it to PlayStation. But then once that's over, and Microsoft is the one writing the deal, then that's probably not going to be included. It'd be like, yeah, you can get the game and sell it for $70, but yeah, we're not putting it in game. We're not putting it in PlayStation Plus. So,
yeah, I
got a question in the chat. Risk it.
Yeah, man, I'll put them aside and I'll get to them when I can. Yeah, look, I would say that it'd be pretty unlikely. I mean, we do know that Xbox tried to pitch Game Pass for Sony, and I don't think Sony's likes to play nice, and so I'd like to see Microsoft start not playing nice, and I think that's starting to happen. I think we're starting to see that. Look, guys, if you're just joining us, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share it out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. Look, we'll move on unless anyone wanted to say anything more about Jim Ryan having a cry publicly to everyone. Nope, cool. Look, I woke up at 4. I don't know if you guys know in the chat there, I've got gastro, so I'm not feeling the greatest. This is not me at my tippity top, but I woke up at 4 in the morning because I've been sleeping all day to watch the Disney Marvel showcase. And wow, thank God I've got a mobile because at least I can play all those games. What the hell was this? It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I was like,
there's a lot of money to be made in mobile. Risk it. A shit ton of money.
It might be, but that doesn't interest me. It's got nothing. That's nothing that interests me. In that, there was a few things. So I think I found out that kart racing game was like going to mobile, but that would be a really cool console. I don't think you have enough kart racing games or anything that kind of meets, Mario Kart on Xbox. But I was thoroughly disappointed. I wanted to see some Star Wars. I was hoping for Jedi Fallen Order or something there. Like, it was cool to see. I am a big fan of Firaxis. There's the guys that make the XCOM series, and they're making that Marvel Midnight Suns. So that was cool to see, but I've seen that already. This really sucked, and I do not see a point. I don't see the point of having. It was a pointless showcase. There was nothing there to get really excited about. I don't think. That might have been a showcase for Disney fans more than it was a showcase for gamers. I don't know. I don't know who this would be directed to. To be honest, I was pretty it's going to take me a little while to soak that in. I'll watch it again. But yeah, I watched it at 4 a.m. and just went, wow. DoomCutie, I'm going to go to you. Have you had a chance to have a look at it? I know it was really early in the morning, so you may not have had a chance to check it out, but it was only 24 minutes where they apparently announced 35 games, and I don't remember seeing 35 games there. So yeah, what was your thoughts on Disney? I know you're a huge Disney fan.
Yeah, I am. And I think, I don't know. I because obviously I'm a Disney fan, but I'm also a gamer. I was it was meh. It was just, I mean, okay, there's some things coming, but nothing that super duper excited me. I think if I saw something from the Star Wars universe or something more in depth than what we saw about the new project from Skydance New Media. That's I don't know if you saw that. Did you guys see that?
Or Amy Hennig? You're talking about Amy Hennig's game?
Yeah.
She that was
We
again.
saw enough. That saved the show.
Yeah, that was really good, but I just didn't get enough. For me as both a Disney fan and a gamer, it was very lackluster, and I don't know why they chose the particular host they did, because it came across very forced almost.
But that was the guy from isn't he from kind of funny or something, that guy? Yeah, the whole thing was just I don't know, it didn't hit for me. Jedi, what were your thoughts on the showcase?
One game was an absolute standout. And me and Umbra were talking about this last night. So the Captain America and Black Panther game set in the World War II setting. That game looks absolutely amazing to me. Headed up by Amy Hennig, and I hope it's a buddy story. She does so good with Nathan Drake and Sully in Uncharted. Just I love that buddy. She writes buddy stories really, really well. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I hope it's co-op. Although I doubt it. I dare say that
No, I
you'll
don't
be
think it will
switching between
be.
characters. Yeah, but look, regardless, I am really looking forward to that game. Do I think the showcase as a whole was good? No, there was way too much focus on mobile gaming. Like you, Riskit, I wanted to see more of Jedi Survivor. Marvel Midnight Suns doesn't really interest me. And so it did leave a little bit to be desired. I am looking forward to the Ubisoft one coming up later today, but hopefully that's better.
Yeah, Pete, honestly, I don't know why. There was nothing about Jedi Survivor. That was a perfect opportunity, and I'm really, really disappointed.
Yeah,
Confused by
I
that,
agree.
I think
Definitely
they kind of set. They didn't set expectations, but there was a bit of a hint that it wasn't going to be there because, I mean, they did call it the Disney Marvel Showcase. I'm pretty sure if it was Survivor was going to be there, they would have, had a Star Wars reference in there in the title somewhere.
They had because there's a Lego Star Wars DLC that they put in there.
Yeah.
So that was announced. That part of the Star Wars games was
The only thing I can imagine is Sony might have some. I think Sony does have marketing for Jedi Survivor, so maybe it'll be at Sony's fabled showcase that never came when people said it would. I think it's supposed to come the 8th.
So you're going to get a Sony lightsaber fetch quest or something. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Get the exclusive purple lightsaber that only you can get on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Mace Windu style.
Rand, what were your thoughts? Did you get a chance to watch the showcase?
Yeah, I did, and the best thing you could say about it was they only wasted 20 minutes of our time instead of 40 minutes or an hour of our time. That's really it. I mean, the only thing I really was interested in was Amy Hennig's untitled Captain America Black Panther team up in World War II. But yeah, we didn't really get to see what the game looks like, let alone have a title and let alone a year. So who knows how far away that is. A lot of mobile games, which understandable. It's bigger than console gaming, and that's where the money is. But that's never going to interest me at all. So I basically just yawn and don't even really pay attention. So yeah, it just was. I mean, if you're going to do this every year, you got to start somewhere. So I mean, I guess you can. All you have really is to go up from here. Right? I saw Jeff Keighley's poll. He put out like, hey, what do people think of this? A, B, C, or D? And it was like 60% D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People were commenting F in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't think
because people wanted, or at least deluded themselves into thinking Spider-Man 2 was going to be there. Star Wars Jedi, Survivor was going to be there.
I heard
Wolverine was going to be there,
right?
Like Indiana Jones was going to be there, right? The bigger games that people like core gamers like us want to see, because we don't want to see mobile games. We don't want to see Disney Dreamlight, even though DoomCutie thinks it's the coolest thing ever, right?
I don't even think Avatar showed very well.
Well, they didn't show anything from the Avatar one that we want. They showed Avatar mobile game, so
Avatar Fortnite.
Really weird.
All I can maybe because it was shown at an event that wasn't just about gaming. Maybe they just weren't allowed the amount of time. That's all I can think of.
Maybe they want to sell those games later to Keighley or something along those lines. Where they, I don't know. It was
my
really
thinking is it's going to show up later. That's my thinking, Pete. I think it's going to show up later.
Maybe they're just dipping their toes into the game showcase and seeing how it goes. But yeah, I just don't think they were given enough time, I feel like there was constraints around what they could actually show and who actually wanted to. So potentially there are other agreements with other companies on things going through.
It's the only thing that makes sense. Otherwise, like you said, the show was just garbage. Just being real. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think
what it is.
Yeah, I don't think they want to put that out there as I don't think they'd want to do that if they if they weren't forced to.
It didn't. It didn't require a show though. That's the thing. The whole show, like all of those shows, were like a trailer on IGN, like or YouTube, or you know what I mean. Like that. None of that really. Even the Black Panther, Captain America like trailer that. It didn't tell us anything. All it told us is it's Captain America and Black Panther. And it's in World War II. That's all it told us.
I didn't even see the need for them to show up at this event. When I saw them all there, Amy Hennig interviewing with a guy from IGN or whatever, it's like, all right, or kind of funny games, I guess. The guy was like, why? For this?
My
this
block finger is getting really itchy, Steph. It's getting really itchy, brother.
Yeah, Steph is trolling kind of hard out there. I see him. You see what he said about Mace Windu, right?
Yeah, I did. It's getting really itchy, brother.
He's like, I know he's out like, do it. No, but yeah, they trolled the Tron identity, and I like Tron. I one of my favorite franchises growing up when, back in the day, but like this is basically it's a narrative game. It's going to be for Steam PCs. Like, okay, that doesn't do anything for us. They showed Illusion Island from Disney, which is, by the way, done by the Battletoad devs. So that's interesting. It's a platformer, but it looks to be coming to the Switch exclusively, it looks like. And of course, they showed Marvel's Midnight Suns. I'm not too sure about that one way or another yet. I don't want to write it off, but it's just not the gameplay style is just not something I care for. But I do want to hold.
I love it.
But
I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's you, right? But yeah, that's your style right there. Like I might give it a try though. But like Pete said, the biggest thing there obviously was the Captain America Black Panther game, which they didn't title. I don't know why they didn't title it, but yeah.
What did everyone think of the trailer? It just looked exactly like the Indiana Jones trailer, didn't it? It was like
very similar.
Except the camera panned from the opposite side. That was the only difference that I could see. It's so weird.
It's interesting that they're going to that.
In the years that it's set, potentially. I'm not sure.
Well, it's interesting that they went to that because it's World War II, so it's it's not T'Challa behind the mask. It's T'Chaka more than likely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right.
So,
they already said that it's his
his father.
What is it? His dad or his grandfather? I think
his father.
Yeah,
his father. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know they even announced it. They discussed it, but I know it had to be T'Chaka because it's back in the day. But it's interesting. I'm looking forward to it. They're going to have Hydra in it and all of that. So I don't know. I'll see how it is. Amy, she knows what she's doing. She made some of the greatest games already. So yeah, I'm sure that's going to be great. I just don't understand why they kind of showed that they didn't have anything else to show. I wish they would have shown something.
But is she still on her game?
Character model or something.
Is Amy Hennig still on her game? That's what I want to know. Because
we'll find out.
Yeah, she's been booted from a few projects lately. So that definitely says something.
Misogyny.
Maybe
that's why.
Maybe she doesn't play nicely with others. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but I do find it interesting that she got booted from a couple of projects there, and one of her games got shut down, which I was really looking forward to, which was that Star Wars game that she was doing, the open world first person action adventure. And it looked good. I mean, they showed a couple of trailers for it as well.
And it sounded good, didn't risk it. That was a strange decision. Yeah,
really strange decision. But I think that was all when Disney was purchasing Lucasfilm or LucasArts. Sorry,
it was. Yeah, it was right around that time. But I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, they did the same thing when they bought it. They cancelled 1313, so I just don't understand some of the decisions they make, especially when you've got the talent of the caliber of Amy Hennig behind the project. I mean, she's showed on numerous occasions that she can, make fantastic games, and I think given the time and the resources, I think she can make fantastic games.
Yeah, there are some people, some developers, game developers that head up studios that just are special. And this is my way of segueing into the next topic. Do you like that, guys? And one of those people is Glenn Schofield. He's the guy who made Dead Space, the Dead Space franchise, and he is now making Callisto Protocol. And he had something to say on Microsoft's Game Pass. But before I get into that, I just want to say, guys, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday, and hit that like button. And let's get into the next topic. So he said, Glenn Schofield, the guy who is producing Callisto Protocol, Microsoft has their own single-player games within the service, and I still think you're going to see a platform holder studios provide single-player games in them. I'm just saying, as a financial model, it's a difficult one to make work as an independent studio. I think you're going to see single-player games, but it will probably come from the hardware companies. As an independent third party, it's really difficult to make a linear third-person game work within those services. I'm not saying never. I'm just saying it's hard financially to make that work. What he's talking about is the rumors that Callisto Protocol was going to Game Pass, and he addressed those in an interview, I think it was with Game Revolution, and said that basically, he's saying very basically that single player, third person kind of action adventure, that sort of thing, doesn't quite fit in the Game Pass model. I found it really interesting. So he's not saying never as well, that it would never go to Game Pass. He's saying as a new release, it kind of doesn't work. Because that I understand where he's coming from, because that's your bread and butter as a third-person action adventure. You know, they sell however many million they sell, and then maybe later on you could stick it in Game Pass. But that depends on what Microsoft's willing to pay you for your game. You know, whether they're having a model, because they have different models, obviously, for different games, where they have a model of engagement, so people who are downloading, playing your game, or a straight-out lump sum payment, or a mix of both. I think that's I think he's kind of talking out of his ass a little bit. I don't think he knows. In all respect to Glenn Schofield, he is awesome. Like, that dude knows how to make games. There's a few interviews out there with him on how he pipelines a game, and really interesting to watch. The guy's an absolute legend. He has produced some of the best games like ever, in my opinion, Dead Space being one of them. But yeah, I just don't think he quite knows the model. I mean, I'm sure he's spoken to Microsoft. I could be wrong. Look, Pete, I'm going to go to you. What do you think? Do you think that single third-person action-adventure games just don't fit that Game Pass model? Or do you think he's talking out of his rear?
I can see where he's coming from, because they're like one-and-done games. But we also know that Microsoft have a lot of different type of models for Game Pass. It's not just one model. So you can get paid outright. You can get paid depending on how many people play your game. So I dare say there would be a model out there for every type of game. And for a new IP, I just can't see where it's coming from. For existing IPs that already have a dedicated fan base, I can maybe understand that. But for a brand new IP, and all as good as Callisto Protocol looks, it's still a brand new IP. And as much as all of us that are really into gaming and watch all the showcases know about Callisto Protocol, I don't know that the larger casual fan base or would even know what this is, and why would they tend to pick up this game over something like a God of War that does have that name recognition. So I don't know if his take is accurate, and I think he might be a little bit of a dinosaur in that regard. In saying that, I think Callisto Protocol is going to be successful. I think that the free marketing they'll get from all of us talking about how good the game is will boost or elevate that game to sell quite well. I would look at this as what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. So release it initially outside of Game Pass, and then possibly come into Game Pass 6 months later, depending on the deal they get, so they can kind of have a second launch. I'm happy enough with that, because there's so much to play that I'll be happy to wait the 6 months, depending on the game. But yeah, it's a really interesting topic. I really don't know the answer.
Well, Hargeet had the answer in the chat there. He said, when you read between the lines, you get, I signed a marketing deal with PlayStation and can't put my game in Game Pass, but I can't say that. So a bit saucy from Hargeet. Umbra, what do you think? Do you think that he doesn't really understand the Game Pass models, or do you think he's had conversations with Microsoft and it didn't quite fit for him, and therefore he thinks it doesn't quite fit for all third-person action advantage single-player games?
Yeah, I don't think that he knows what he's talking about on that. I mean, what proof does he have to say that that's the case or not, right? There's nothing to say that. My thinking would be closer to what Hargeet is pointing out, that it's probably he has a marketing deal and he's like, hey, I'll just push this, the old, well, we can't put it there. I think it's more of him just kind of downplaying it because maybe the numbers aren't meeting up. The numbers ain't numbering, as they would say. Math ain't mathing. So I think if Microsoft was to offer them a big enough check, his tune would change dramatically, as anybody else would. So I don't think it does anything. We don't know enough to say one way or another, but we know that there have been plenty of games that have been put on there that had were thought to going to be underperform, and Game Pass saved them. I don't think something as big as what they're putting out would be something they would want to do because it's probably going to do well on its own out in the market. But I don't think it would hurt for it to be put in Game Pass and them getting a big enough check to what's the word I'm looking for, to offset any losses they would get from sales itself, from getting what they would get from Microsoft. I don't think
Yeah,
Microsoft either,
if
though,
they're
would want to
paying
pay that.
what $600,000 for what Cooking Simulator, how much would they have to pay
Right.
for something like Callisto Protocol?
Exactly. And we all remember what that Microsoft had to do for Tomb Raider back then. So I can only imagine how much something like this will be now. So yeah, I think Microsoft wouldn't want to do that. And I think, what he would ask, his asking price would be too high. Respectfully, and I get it. I get why he would think, say that. But yeah, I think kind of like what Pete said, he's a bit of a dinosaur in that regard. What would he know about that? Like he's been looking at the numbers. No, that man is too busy crunching and enjoying crunching out there. He's not thinking about some Game Pass numbers.
Oh, that's a whole another thing. His tweet about the crunch.
Burn!
Yeah, look, we won't get into that because I kind of actually agree that his tweet was pretty innocuous. I don't think it was terrible. DoomCutie, I'll go to you. Look, what do you think that Glenn knows what he's talking about when it comes to third-person action adventures going to Game Pass, that it's not financially viable?
Well, I don't know. He might have put a number on the table for Xbox and say, I want this. And they probably said, whoa, no way. So, look, we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I do think, along the lines of you guys and Hagate as well, there's just things that we don't know about behind the scenes. And yeah, people say stuff to cover themselves, to cover other people, to meet the contract obligations. And I think, we have to take everything with a grain of salt, really. And but potentially he doesn't know much about Game Pass, and probably not. But if I think it might, Pete, you might be looking into your crystal ball and predicting correct. It might release. They might not get, the numbers or whatever, and then it'll eventually move to Game Pass, where it will become successful. So.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to Guardians of the Galaxy. They sort of had a second launch, and I'm pretty sure they were very happy with the deal, apart from, Square Enix being unhappy about basically anything that...
Their Western studios do, yeah. It's pretty standard for Square. But they don't have any Western studios anymore, so we don't have to hear them whinge about how they just don't meet expectations. Rand, go to you. What do you think? Do you think that third-person action adventures have a place in Game Pass launching day one that aren't first-party?
I mean, that depends. I mean, everybody's got to make their decisions on what's best for their own games, right? So... And it really comes down to the offering. Is there a reality where Callisto Protocol's day one on Game Pass? Yeah, but that reality probably requires a very, 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 very large check from Microsoft to make it worth the risk. And in that regard, Microsoft's never going to offer the amount of money it would take. So to them, they're probably like, our game can't really take advantage of all these extra players who might have bought it because we don't have any expansions, we don't have any microtransactions, we don't have any DLC where we could make up for some of the loss of not putting it on there. So, I guess it just really depends on what your goals are for your game. And I mean, I will say, I thought like with Outriders coming to Game Pass and MLB The Show and Back 4 Blood last year, I thought we'd see more third parties take the dive. and we aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that may be because of like the games that are launching this year. A lot of games got delayed. But I do wonder if third parties still aren't sold on Game Pass.
No, I
And
ask you
it's
this, then, Rand. Do you think that might have something to do with now Sony putting it in their contracts that they can't go into Game Pass, like we heard a rumor for Gotham Knights?
I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with that. Like, it's just that's your standard marketing agreement, and you know, it's like, hey, we're giving you money to market the game. Your game can't come to a competing subservice. Like, I get that. Like, as a business, of course, you want to do that, but like, I thought we were on the verge of like, oh man, finally, big AAA games on Game Pass, and it sort of seems that the big publishers and the big games are still a little bit worried. I mean, I've heard Jeff Grubb talk about this on his shows, and it's like a concern. They're not entirely sold on it yet, or maybe they never will be. And Callisto Protocol is a big game, right? There's a lot riding on it for that company. So they're probably like, all right, you know, we're going to sell this and do it the old way, the old-fashioned way, because Glenn Schofield, you know, old-fashioned guy, right? Been around for a while. So he's probably like, this is the way it's got to be. And, you know, it's probably come to a subscription service later on, whether it's a year later or 6 months later. It'll probably come to one of them. If they have a PlayStation marketing one, it'll be PlayStation Plus Plus or Extra. It's just, I don't know. It's whatever's good, whatever's best for your game. Some devs love it. Like, we just saw the Tunic guy talking about how amazing it is, right? So, it just really, I guess it depends on the type of game you're making and what your goals are. And yeah, Callisto Protocol probably doesn't work for them. With whatever Microsoft would offer. But there probably is an offer that would work for them, but Microsoft would never actually make that offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
I think that Callisto Protocol can stand on its own 2 feet. I think that we need to see more games like that, whether it comes to Game Pass or not. You know, is a little bit beside the point to me. I just want it to stand on its own 2 feet. It looks amazing.
He is sort of right in the sense that if you look at Netflix, right? Netflix had everybody else's content. That's how it grew. They were ahead of the game. Everybody was, we're just going to license. We're not using any of this stuff. We're going to license to Netflix. You can pay us. And Netflix grew its business based on other people's content. But then they realized that wouldn't last forever. And they would actually have to start making their own. And when you make that kind of analogy to Game Pass, you realize that, you know, for a while, Microsoft, you know, they're paying these third-party games to be on there, but they realize that at the end of the day, it's going to be their own stuff. So when he mentions like third-party games from first party, you know, he's talking about like Hellblade, stuff like that, where it's not really important how many copies Hellblade 2 sells because it's a first-party game. It's important how many subscribers, you know, new subscribers subscribe to Game Pass, or how many people play it, and how many downloads it gets. So the metrics are totally different for a first-party game versus a third-party game like Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, and I think that's a big reason for the ABK deal, to be honest. And then maybe they won't need the big games like Outriders or the big third-party games. They can focus more on the small little games like Tunic and The Ascent and those type of games, which I love. Midnight Fight Express, games that I wouldn't typically buy. You know, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, The Lies of P, games like that. And that's how I would like Game Pass to go ahead after the acquisition.
Absolutely. Me too. I just want Game Pass to put in games. That's really all I want from it. You give me. I don't even need the big AAAs. I'm happy to buy a few games a year. And knowing that those first parties are coming, that's that's really, to me, all that matters. So, yeah, I think you nailed it there, Rand. Look, we'll move on to the next topic, guys. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you are not, please hit the like button, share it out. We go live 8 p.m. every Friday, EST. Look, we're going to move on to Atomic Heart delayed, man. It's just a couple of little topics that we've got to finish up the show. I can't believe it was delayed after they dropped the trailer. I think it was GamesCom. Pretty excited for that game. I wasn't at all excited for that game. I was like, it could be cool. It's coming to Game Pass. It seems all right. Watched that trailer at Gamescom. Like, wow, yes, we're getting this. And then, boom, I think it's got something to do with how well it showed. Like, it showed really, really well. And then I think I can't think of the publisher's name that's publishing it, but they've delayed a few games this year with Evil West, this one, and another one. And they seem to have a bit of a quality bar. No, it's
talking about Focus.
Focus, yeah, talk about Focus. Yeah, Mudfish is the guys who developed the game. Focus has delayed a few things this year. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe they're raising their quality bar, or I don't know what's going on there. But it's just disappointing to see another game get delayed and then see it go to 2023. Like 2023 is stacked at this point. I'm not going to have time to play all these games. Like I'll probably have to shut the podcast down so that we can play games, guys. It's craziness. Umbra, what do you think of these delays? All these delays coming from Focus, and all the delays in 2023. How stacked it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I don't put it on Focus. I guess it's just the devs that they're working with. I think they're putting out high caliber games. At least it's going to take some time. If you look at Atomic Heart, when they first showed that, man, I thought that was the first game I saw that was like, yeah, this is next gen. This is why I got a Series X for. This is why people were going to get a PS5 for eventually when it comes to it. The game looks dope. There are no two ways about it. So I think, and the fact that it's only being pushed back until possibly late February, if not March, that's fine with me. It was probably coming out late this year anyway. I think November, if not December. So that's only a few more months. I think we'll be fine with that. As I said elsewhere, a delayed great game is fine. Nobody wants a on-time mess though, so I'm good with that. It makes sense. Seeing how it looks, and we'll take quality over something else rushed, I guess, anytime. So I'm good with that. I think they deserve all the time in the world.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Absolutely. I mean, I'd rather see a game delayed than come out like an absolute Halo. Pete, I'll go to you.
It looks like Atomic Heart is a special type of game. It looks like that game that Xbox has been crying out for, that third person action adventure game with really, really cool mechanics. Very reminiscent of BioShock. So yeah, really, really looking forward to that. Tied me over to a BioShock 4 eventually releases or shows something. But didn't the team behind Atomic Heart have to move away from Russia and then basically build a brand new studio in Prague, just like the Stalker 2 developers? I mean, that would have to impact the time it takes for them to put out a game. But regardless of all that, the game looks great to me. The Gamescom gameplay trailer was just made me want it even more, and I can't wait to play it, regardless if it comes this year or next.
Yeah, that trailer was the thing that made me actually interested in the game. Before that, I was very meh about it. DoomCutie, did you see that trailer, or are you disappointed that we're getting a delay for Atomic Heart?
Yeah, I thought the trailer looked really promising. I thought there was some really strong gameplay shown there. So for me to hear about a delay seems, like I say, very, very surprising. But look, I say this every time we talk about a delay. I'd much rather a fully finished game than, not. So if that means a delay, and I'm sure everyone would agree with me, then so be it. Especially a game that is like Atomic Heart for sure.
Absolutely, you don't want to see another Halo. Rand?
Oh.
I'll go to you.
Someone's hurt.
Risk it.
Are you disappointed about Atomic Heart being delayed?
I mean, I kind of felt, I don't trust release dates right now. So,
yeah,
they didn't give a date at the end of the Gamescom trailer, so I just assumed it was delayed. And then they announced a partnership, and they were like, "Oh, it's coming late winter, or it's coming winter." It's like, "Oh yeah, that's a 2023 game." There was some issues with them in the Ukraine war situation, so that probably was one of the reasons. So, health of the team over, getting the game out as quick as possible. So, it looks super cool. Like you, the game always kind of looked like, man, that game looks weird, but is it going to be any good? And then they put out the Gamescom trailer, and I'm like, wow, that looks really good. It's like, all right, so now I'm quite interested in it. But yeah, it's just another game for 2023. Game Pass is gonna be,
stacked.
I mean,
do you think it's gonna help?
So much.
Do you think it's going to help Game Pass, like actually assist what you're talking about before with those third-party developers? How it seems like there's some nervousness around Game Pass and putting your game into Game Pass. Do you think that 2023 being so absolutely stacked that might help Microsoft get some of these third-party games into Game Pass just because they're worried about how their sales are going to do with the amount of games that are dropping throughout 2023?
Well, I mean, it's always going to come down to money for third parties. How much are you paying for this, right? But then it also comes down to data. Can Microsoft show data to the third parties that basically say, hey, this is how much better your stuff is going to do? Like, that's the job they need. That's what they need to convince the third parties of. As Game Pass grows, if you get it up to 50 million, does that mean, games do better on the service? Potentially, probably some type of games. I don't know if it'll help. The only thing that's going to help, the only thing that really matters in life is what? Risk it. Like, companies really care about at the end of the day is how much money can I make out of this, right? And that's what Microsoft's going to have to convince them with. We'll pay you, and then here's the data that shows, what it would do with Game Pass versus what it wouldn't. Or these are the perks. Take it or leave it,
Yeah, look, I just wanted to say that I'm not sure.
Silent.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone has thanked Hargeet. If you got the codes, please thank the Mad that gave you the codes. He was generous.
They might have slipped into his DMs,
generous enough to give it away. So we'd really appreciate it. If you
I got a question for you all. Concerning the game. So I was talking to a few people on a different podcast I was on, and the question came up about, not the question, but the statement came up about them being uncomfortable supporting Atomic Heart because of the devs being in Russia and not coming out with a statement against Putin.
I heard that too.
Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts about that? Now, my thing was like, making a statement about that means certain death for them and their family, more than likely, or at least, the gulag or something. But what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I heard that too, Umbra, and I do think that Microsoft did speak to them in the background. I don't think Microsoft wanted to be seen as, helping, the war effort, or wherever the case may be. Although I think you're absolutely right. What are the developers meant to do? Call out their government in which they work, in which their families live? I mean, that's just suicide in a country like Russia. So I can't fault them for not saying anything. I think if anything, it's smart not to say anything. Move your team over to Prague. Build a new studio in which you're going to be safe. But in saying that, I mean, I'm sure they've still got family back in Russia, so that doesn't mean necessarily that they'd still be allowed to speak out. I mean, there are no laws in Russia. There are laws, but I mean, they're really not followed. But I mean, that's my take. What do you think, Doomy?
Look, it's a really, really tricky topic for people to be making public statements about. I'm sure we've seen lots of people put their foot in it in the past. I think this is kind of similar to how people are feeling about not supporting Hogwarts Legacy. Some people are flat out not wanting to buy the game because they don't want any money going towards J.K. Rowling. However, Hogwarts Legacy have actually issued it. They've got a little questions and answers section on the website, and and it explains what J.K. Rowling's a part in the game is and their stance on her words that she has said. So potentially that's something they could follow in with. they could do something similar and put something that's not necessarily a public statement, not something like on their Twitter or something like that, but something on their website may definitely assist them to win some people back.
Okay, so what do you think about it, Rand? Do you think? Sorry, I was just I just got a message from Risket. His controller died, so he'll be back soon. But what do you think about it, Rand? Do you think they should stay quiet? Do you think that they should openly, object to the war? Does that put them and themselves and their family in a different situation? I'd love to get your take, brother.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would. I mean.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's life or death situations and stuff. I don't know what's the right thing to do for them. So I didn't even know they were a Russian studio and that there was this sort of like, I don't feel comfortable buying their game because they haven't spoken out against Putin. I didn't even know that was a thing. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
it's a difficult one, isn't it? I know that people really want everyone to be really voiceless, like in speaking out against the war, but doesn't it just make you appreciate how good we've got it, basically, where we live, where we don't have to worry about things like that? I mean that. It brings me back to that Stalker 2 video that they put out at the end of the showcase on day 2. That was heart-wrenching, the things that they have to go through to get... Everyone was complaining, oh no, it's another delay. Look what these developers are doing to get that game into gamers' hands. It was, that gentleman that hadn't spoken to his mother and father that lived in Maripol, didn't even know if they were alive. That other girl that was living in the corridor with her dog, underneath a mattress just to make sure she doesn't get bombed at night. Just, insanity.
Terrible.
Insanity. Look, I'm not sure where Risk It is, and I'm not sure what the next topic is. So,
the next topic.
Chat, if you guys got any questions, that'd be awesome. But I'll throw you, Umbra.
About the
Nope.
No?
I'm changing it. I'm taking over the show now.
Excuse me.
Yes. Don't try to stop me, cutie. Toxic cutie. No, wow. Risk is back.
Yeah, sorry guys, I had to step out of. I do. If you're just joining us, I do have gastro, so I had to nip out quickly and get some water and eject the last bit of water that I had.
I'm sorry, Pat. I had something really fun planned. Oh, you have no idea.
Look, we'll move on topics. Apologies for stepping out, guys. My bad. Like as I said, I am pretty sick at the moment. So we'll move on to Gungrave Gore is launching on Game Pass. So going from something that's delayed to something that we're actually going to get, which is really cool. I mean, I haven't had much of a chance to get a look at Gungrave Gore. I had a quick look at the trailer. It looks pretty cool to me. And I guess, like we were saying earlier on in the show, it's just kind of shows you that Microsoft is trying to fill that gap, like that Starfield has left with just lots of these like little really cool games. And as well, that's going into the Tokyo Game Show. You can kind of see where Microsoft's going with this whole trying to get some of this Eastern market and bringing that into the ecosystem, which they've been pretty poor at in the past. With Lies of P, that being a Korean game. I like how they're branching out just from Japan, because I think a lot of the times we've been, when they talk about the East or they talk about getting Japanese developers in, that's what the focus is. Like people are thinking JRPGs, and there's a lot of other genres of games and studios and Eastern developers in other countries that are bringing some really cool games. So I'm pretty excited to see Gungrave Gore. Rand, I'll go to you. We won't ask you about Russia again. I'll go to you and I'll hit you up about what do you think about Gungrave Gore? Have you had a chance to check this out? I will bring the trailer up on screen here in a minute. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. You know, could be a really cool get for Game Pass. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like Game Pass just like gets these really cool looking games, and it's probably a game I wouldn't play. But now it's like, maybe I'll give it a try. Here, it's more like Devil May Cry ish.
Mm-hmm.
So that interests me. Yeah, it's a cool looking game, and it kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Great
Are you
just
into
for
anime?
Game
Game
Pass,
Pass.
a game that you wouldn't play otherwise, but it's going into Game Pass, so why not?
Are you into anime, Ren?
Not particularly, but I have been watching Vinland Saga, and it's pretty awesome.
I love Vinland Saga. If I could recommend that to any of you all who don't watch anime, Pete, risk it.
Hey, I don't watch anime.
Anime's for kids.
Cutie.
Great minds think alike, to me.
Terrible minds, toxic minds think alike. No, honestly, I would highly recommend it. It's actually really damn good.
Do you know what I think? I think so Gungrave Gore was obviously previewed at Gamescom. Obviously people got their little hands on it before it comes to Game Pass, and I think they had really big success there, and I think that from that's made them move into Game Pass, which is really exciting. And yeah, Risk It, you're right. Getting other studios from other countries is always incredible, and especially when we're lucky enough to have them on Xbox Game Pass is it's a treat for everyone.
Yeah, we're just watching the trailer here. It's good to see some diversity of games. And like you say, Pete, like Pete always says, like they're games that you wouldn't normally just rush out and buy, and you'd kind of check it out, and see what the reviews are like. But it's going straight to Game Pass, so hey, like I said, they are really trying to fill that gap, give us something to kind of move through until this 2023 when they start dropping their big bangers. Look, I'm going to move on to the next topic, but before I do, guys, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And something else dropped that's kind of interesting for me, and I had a few questions about it as well.
Just quickly before you move on, Risk It, I just wanted to shout out to Timmy. I don't know if he's here, but he pointed out Gungrave Gore to me and the First Descenders. There were so many games at Gamescom that just went a little bit under the radar, and there were two that Timmy pointed out to me, and he sent me a link to both of them. So thank you, mate.
Yeah, yep, they are, and that was the thing about Gamescom. There was a lot of surprises that and games that I missed. I still need to go back and check out that. But over the week, something launched or will be launching. I'm a little bit. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of. I might jump on board with it. I might not. But the Elite Wireless Controller Series 2 and the Elite Wireless Controller Series 2 Core. Yeah, I guess I just want to know two things. One, where's the Elite 3? And two, is this going to break in 3 months? Like, I'm kind of a little bit iffy about this. They did say that they have, that they've heard players loud and clear, and we've continued to improve the Elite Series 2 controllers to be more reliable than ever before with refined components that are built to last. Built to last, that seems like they're saying something to us. For added peace of mind, the Elite Series 2 controllers come with a 1-year limited warranty. 1 year is not enough. I want my controllers to last almost the life of the console. So I may jump on board with this. The really cool thing about this, though, is that now you're starting to see these come into design labs. So for those of you that love, getting controllers like Doomy from design labs and sticking your name on it and all that sort of stuff, I guess this is something for you. I just want to see the Series 3. Now, so one thing I'll note that I'd noticed as well is that we were talking about this, Umbra, me and you, earlier in the week, and the share button is there, I can see, on the controller. So it looks like they've actually added the share button. So is this more of an Elite Series 3 and they just haven't called it that? Or I found this a really weird choice, personally. I think if you're going to launch a controller after the Series 2, it's got to be a Series 3, right? Umbra, what are your thoughts on that?
It should have. Yeah, it would have made sense to go to 3. I think most people were...
Sorry.
I think Toxic Cutie strikes again. No, I was gonna say
Sorry.
though. I think, I think all of us were thinking like, where's the third one? Like, get to the next one, and where are the new revisions? The new, I don't know, haptic feedback or something like that that we'll probably never use on Xbox. But anyway, where are those things at? But I will say I've never had an Elite controller, so this probably will be something I'll invest in. I'll probably get that red and black. Those are my two favorite colors. So I think I will probably invest in it. It's $130, and I can get the other components later if I want something like that. Yeah, I think I might be up to it. I don't think that button, by the way, is a share button though, Risk. I think that's
Yeah, it changes your
configurations, right?
yes, yep, and so you can
Yeah.
have three
Right.
different configurations. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
that's-
So it doesn't have the share button. That's a weird choice.
It doesn't. It is weird. I
Yeah,
don't know why
look,
they did
and
that.
the reason why I think they've done it that way is so the so the controller actually is made up in the same way, and it saves them money in the long run. So if you
Well,
were
can't
to
you
make a version 3, then you'd have to add another button, and that would then
too many.
cost a lot more money because you'd have to change the whole
What? But why would it?
faceplate.
Why would it cost a whole lot
Well,
more? You just put another hole in
you'd
there
have-
and sticking a button in, right?
Yeah, you'd have to. You don't know how the internals work in the background, and then you can't then mass produce them to all basically be exactly the same. So I think it's a little bit deeper than that. In saying that, I love the share button. I know it's like 2 button presses. Otherwise, you press the Xbox button and X to take a picture, and Y
right.
to take actual
Screenshot.
capture. But
Yeah,
in saying that,
pretty
I
cool,
just
yeah.
love being able to press my button and take a share immediately, and then share it out to the chat. So it's it's
What's unfortunate though, Jedi, is like they have all of that. Yeah, the share button. There's probably some meta behind it because it's like, yeah, we don't have the share button. Why would we when our DVR is trash? So you know what I mean? Like, there's no use of them having it. Let's be
Yeah.
real. I have to turn my Xbox off and restart it to actually share some things. Sometimes it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
look,
it's pretty
it
bad.
is a problem. Yeah,
It's pretty
it
bad.
definitely is a problem. In saying all that, I do love the core controller. I've got my Elite Series 1, which the rubber grips fell off, and I got stick drift, and my bumper stopped working, so I got the trifecta. But I do have all the components, all the accessories. So if I were to get this, it would save me money. I do also like the fact that they're selling the accessories separate. So if you have, some of them broken or you've worn out your thumbsticks, you can just buy them without having to replace the entire controller. In saying that, it's $190 in Australia. Yes, it's a discount from the $250 for the version 2. It's still way, way, way too expensive for me personally. But I do like the little thing that you can put it into Design Labs and change the color of the faceplate. I don't know how you're gonna be like if you're gonna be able to change the design too much. Like, are you gonna be able to have change the color of the thumbsticks? Are you going to be able to change the color of your triggers? So I don't know how integrated they've actually put it. From what I've seen, I've only seen the faceplate change color. But yeah, that'll be interesting.
I love how like the one person in this chat who has the most controllers is the last person to speak on this topic.
Well, you're not the
just
last.
saying.
Rand hasn't spoken on it, but
Who has the most controllers?
Oh, maybe maybe Rand
Who-
does. Maybe Rand.
who
does.
has
I
the
just
mo-
read on
how-
the
how-
panel.
How many do you have? We just need to compare. How many? Let's see who's got the most. How many do you have? Let's go through
shit.
it.
Uh-oh.
I
Toxic
probably don't
Rand.
have as much as you, Rand.
No,
Well,
how
I'm
many
just-
do you have? I'm curious. I actually want to know.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think.
I have
find out.
13.
13.
Ow!
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
13.
Rand is like
that's
"Damn."
impressive.
How much do you have, Ren?
No, and you know what? No, that no company sent them to me.
Oh,
Oh.
shade at
Toxic
me.
cutie.
I've had one
Undefeated.
controller sent to me. One controller. Okay. So let's see. How many do I have? The Elite 1 and the Elite 2. So that's 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Regular black controller, regular white controller. That's 4, right? 20th anniversary Forza Horizon. So that's 6. Lunar White. one of the camos, Sea of Thieves. Forza Motorsports 7, so that's 10.
Just so you know, Pete, the Sea of Thieves one goes for five. People pay 500, 400 Australian dollars.
If it comes with the
Oh,
DLC code.
Yep.
Yeah, because they don't make those anymore. People pay
No.
good money for that. You might have me beat. I'd have to go count, but
All right,
I'm right
let
around.
me know.
I'm right
Let me
around
know.
where you're at. I'm right around 10, 11, 12, like right around there.
Okay.
That's
You know.
decent. It's very decent. Cutie. I'll just. What do you think about this whole thing? Will you be buying? I know you'll probably be buying one. It's a bit of a.
I don't own an Elite controller, so I'm like Umbra. And can I just say,
Whoa, Monad. If you count my 360, I have 20. Damn, Monad flexing in the
Sheesh.
chat.
yeah, okay. If you have previous generations controllers, then I guess but I'm
That
just
doesn't
talking
count.
about
Previous
the-
gen is previous
yeah, it
gen.
doesn't
They don't count.
Mhm.
Okay.
I've got 5 controllers. There we go.
Only controllers that work on the Series X, so that's Xbox.
Yeah,
Series,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not 360.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that the full name is the Xbox Elite Core controller. It is part of the Elite Series 2, but anyway, it's called Core, but anyway. Because you were like, why can't it be Series 3?
No.
It's not
So
Series
so
3.
the Elite Series Controller 2, and the Elite Series Controller 2 Core, and the Core doesn't come with the accessories.
Yes.
And so the Series 2, which is what basically is the Series 2, just comes with the accessories. They've just kind of updated I think they've updated the build on the inside with the cage, because what people were saying with the bumpers, I think a lot of people have experienced this issue, that there's a cage that holds the bumpers and they regularly snap because they're poorly designed. So I think this is just kind of an update to the Series 2, but my question was like, why are we doing this? Why don't we just do a Series 3? But Cutie, yeah, because a Series a Series 3 I would buy. This I'm looking at like.
But what would have to make it different other than that share button?
Share button,
Series 3?
share
What would
button,
make it
and
better?
I agree, Doomy. I agree.
share button, and give me some stuff. Give me some extra. I don't know, some fruit. Give me something. I don't know.
Yeah, some
Want to be
fruit.
I
gold.
honestly think it's the perfect controller, and I think Xbox made a point to say the 40-hour battery life again. PlayStation still haven't come out with their battery life for their controller. I think there's going to be a very stark difference between the two, and I think it's very smart on Microsoft's behalf to put this out, and I think it might even be cheaper than the PlayStation 1. So, yeah, I do think it's a smart move.
I know, I like it, and I like that it's coming to the store. But I don't think it'll have. I agree with Pete in that I haven't seen customizable thumbstick colors or any of the triggers or anything like that. So I think the customization might be limited compared to how much you can customize a regular Xbox controller.
You know, speaking of that battery life, though, the DualSense is what, roughly 12 hours, if that.
It's not
I
even
think
that.
it's
Oh,
like-
not if you
Yeah, it
put
feels
your
like it dies
adaptive
quicker
triggers
than
on.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Put
feels
your
like it
adaptive
dies
triggers
way
on.
faster.
And you go
Barely
into
3
it and
hours.
all of
That's what I
that.
thought, because I thought it died really quick on me when I played. But I was going to say, this controller lasts, what, 40 hours? So that's
Yeah.
pretty damn good.
Amazing
Yeah.
battery
Yeah,
life,
look
and
at-
the way that you can just charge it through by plugging it into the actual box that it comes with. It's just incredibly smart design, and it just shows you how ahead of the game Microsoft are when it comes to controllers.
Or
They
peripherals.
invest a lot of money.
the
in this
PlayStation-
controller.
The actual PlayStation controller doesn't. I would say 6 hours. I think it lasts about 6 hours. This is roughly by me using it, playing it, because I played the Last of Us remake in it. Yeah, I had to recharge it a few times. But here's something else: you can't charge that PlayStation controller off of just a normal USB. You have to have it plugged into the box. It will hold charge. So if you're running out of charge and you plug it into a USB, it'll hold the charge insofar as keep it powered. But it won't take charge unless you plug it into the PlayStation. Unless I'm doing something wrong.
That can't be true. That can't be true because they sell the charging docks for them, and those you see them, and they're not plugged into the PlayStation.
No,
They
but
can
you
be
may
plugged
just
into
have to go.
normal.
You can't just use a normal USB-C to charge it. It won't allow it. It's weird. It might be that they want proprietary, like peripherals, like you're saying, a dock to charge it.
Because Razer makes it.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be licensed to PlayStation, so
Yeah, right.
yeah. So it would be, yeah. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but every time I've plugged it into a USB-C that's outside of the PlayStation 5, it won't charge it. It just holds the charge that it has, or it keeps it powered. But Cutie, you're going to be getting one of these. Is that what's going to be happening? You're going to be upping it to 14 because 13's a bad number to have. Let's be honest.
It is. It is. Well, I would really love the Halo controller. Oh my god, that is my number one wanted controller at the moment. The Elite Halo one. So, but yes, I will be.
Oh, so it's a
Sorry,
guarantee.
Timmy, there's an Elite Halo controller. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. Could be wrong. Rand,
That?
going over.
Yeah, it was the one. It was the one that came out when the when the
Yeah,
game
it was a pre-order. It has a
system,
gold
right?
button.
Console.
It has a gold
Yeah.
D-pad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty sure there is the Halo is Elite, yeah. Rand, is this something that you'll be adding to your collection? What are your thoughts on it?
Depends, I guess.
He'll probably get
The only
sent
thing-
one.
No. I don't get sent that, like, no. They're not going to send me an Elite controller.
If you
I'm not really interested.
If you asked them, would they send it?
I'm not going to ask them for one either.
Hey, Phil, reckon you can send me one of those Elites on speed dial? Yeah.
I'm not really interested in the white. I don't think it looks good.
What color would you
So-
get?
I mean, I have to see them all, but just from the quick kind of slideshow, I thought the red one looked the best because I think it really goes well with the black. So I guess it really depends on the colors they have on offer and how much they jack up the price on it, because they always jack up the prices on the design labs. So my initial kind of thoughts on this are probably no, because I need that Series 3.
Mhm.
Where it at, Microsoft?
Where that?
You know, I think
Same
the
question
Elite.
to you, Rand. What would you change on the Series 2 to Series 3 in order for it to be worth it?
Well, that may be one of the reasons why it's taken so long, right? Like the Elite 1 came out in 2015, and then I think it was 2015, and then 4 years later, the Elite Series 2 came out, and they had like all these different changes. Like I remember in the videos,
I
it was
love
like
the fact that you
60
can tighten
plus. Right?
tighten the thumbsticks. I think that is brilliant, because one of the big problems that I had between the 360 generation and the Xbox One generation is I believe the thumbsticks became too loose. So I actually like them tighter, and they did it, I think, for competitive gaming to have more freedom of movement. But I actually like the tighter sticks. I think it helps personally with my gaming. So that was a brilliant design choice. I would think that they would need something along those lines to warrant a version 3, and I just can't think of anything that would, change it too much, apart from what Riskett said with changing a button.
Yeah, I mean, haptic feedback, resistance triggers. I mean, there are things they could add, but would developers actually use it if it's not standard? So,
So digitizing it, making it from analog to digital, yeah, maybe that could be the case, but as long as they still have the analog version there, because I mean those digital controllers they're killers on your battery.
yeah, I do think it's smart to have a cheaper Elite though, because I do think the high price point of the Series 2 at $180 maybe scared some people away, and controllers, like, the profit margins are pretty high, and they do sell, there's some of the best selling stuff out there. So having Elite that's really cheaper might actually do really well. So it's like you have the regular controller, now you got this mid-tier Elite 2, and then you have the Elite 2 itself. So it's like you have 3 different versions at 3 different price points. So I think it's something that could sell pretty well to a market. And then maybe you just go like balls to the wall for Series 3 and like price it at like $250. So like you could have the regular controller, the $120 core, the $180 Elite 2, and then boom, here's a $250 Elite 3 or something, where you kind of
Did you
hit like
guys
all
fill out the
the
survey?
markets.
At the start of the generation, when PlayStation announced their adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, and then Xbox put out a survey where asking us whether or not we would want that in an actual controller. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was very early on in the generation, but I was very happy with the controller.
I remember those things did surface. Those yeah. I don't know. I think like, what can you add outside of those? Although, I'm not a smart person. I don't work at Xbox, and maybe they have some ideas, but maybe we see the Elite next year, Elite Series 3 next year. There was that Spanish insider, quote unquote, who said, he had heard that that's what it was planned for, so maybe we get it next year.
Yeah,
like I said, there's 4 years between the Elite 1 and 2. Been 4 years would be next year. So maybe if we don't get it next year, you get it in 2024. I don't know.
I was thinking that a lot of the links, the leaks might have just been this core version. I mean, I could be wrong.
Possibly. Something I would add, PlayStation had that scuff controller, and it had like those 3 different levels from Pro, Reflex, and first person shooter you could switch to. So maybe they can have that preset type of thing where you could switch to it. They already have the 3 like configurations, so I guess it's similar. Something in the, what they used to do, like they remember how the 360 had the swappable face plates. I love that. I used to love that. But what if they put like swappable plates that you can actually have for your controller instead of us having to do one design labs, and that's just the end of that. Maybe we can swap out, the face plates and stuff like that, or put something on
there are
top.
lots
They
of
do that.
companies
They
that
should do that for your console as well. That's what I
They
would love to
should.
see. Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't done that yet, honestly.
And the
So, yeah.
series, both the Series S and the X are just perfect shape for it. Like they're perfectly flat. So
Speaking of which, Pete, did you see that House of the House of the Dragons S Series S?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I did.
Man, I
Very,
want that.
very cool.
I
Yeah.
love their
Man.
design.
That's one thing that Xbox is fantastic at, making consoles that have different IPs on them. They've always stood out as just amazing. I don't think anything's as good as the Gears of War Xbox One X one. That thing is a thing of absolute beauty. But
yeah, that
I
was
mean, it
good.
goes back a very long way. I remember the original OG Xbox had that green see-through one, which was just
I
really,
think that's
really
the
Oh, you
dev
could
kit
change
type
the
one,
front,
right?
the front plate. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the dev kit. What I remember that. And then they had the C3PO 360 and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they did.
Classic stuff like that.
No, they
yeah.
had there's a Forza Motorsport.
So what could
Xbox One, I think.
So what could they do with the Series 3? I kind of agree with what Rand's saying there, is they could go haptic feedback, but I know, Pete, that you're not a big fan of haptic
I
feedback.
don't think it's necessary.
You said that's, well, this is the thing with haptic feedback. It's not necessary. That shit's not necessary at all. And in some cases, it actually hinders your gameplay. I had to turn it off for...
Very distracting.
yeah, I had to turn it off for was a remake or remaster, because my finger actually was slipped off the trigger occasionally because they're not gripped. I don't know. I would like to see Microsoft or Xbox do a haptic feedback controller personally, because I think that they could probably do it better. So I would kind of like to see the Series 3 have that haptic feedback and have all that. And Pete, you referenced the what was it? The questionnaire that they sent out, the survey. So they're thinking about it. It's it's a possibility that that's what might be what we get, and maybe that's why we're only getting a Series 2 update now. I don't know, but a bit disappointing that it didn't have the share button. For me personally, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm just a bit like with Rand on this one. I'm like in an I don't know, man. I just is that 3 coming? If the 3's coming, I don't want to be getting this one. Like I would rather wait. What do you think?
Evil
so-
Ducky actually had something credible
saw
to say in the chat for once. That's unusual. He says that they can't do haptic feedback since Sony has a patent for it.
I wonder how true that is.
Well, no, they can do haptic feedback, just not call it haptic feedback. They're just trademarking the name, right?
I think they have their own version of it.
Yeah,
Xbox have their own patents for that too.
Yeah, X feedback or something.
X-back. The X
Yeah,
Batch.
my main worry, Risket, it would be the battery life. Changing a console to a digital format instead of an analog or a mechanical one really does impact that battery life, and I think the Xbox just that's where it has a massive advantage over the PlayStation. But I could see them giving you options. Options are always good, so the more options, the better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with haptic feedback. You can turn it off. You don't have to have it on. So, yeah, there's definitely stuff they can do, definitely things they can bring to a Series 3 controller. I just want to know where the hell's the Series 3? I got super excited and then was a little bit disappointed. So that was kind of my thoughts on the whole thing. But look, guys, that kind of brings us to the end of the show. But I'll do the outros. But, guys, if you're in the chat and you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We go live at 8 p.m. EST every Friday. And chat, you guys have been absolutely amazing this week. It's been absolutely huge. Really appreciate every single one of you. I'm kind of struggling myself over here because I'm a little bit sick this week. So if I haven't responded or I missed a question, my apologies. Rand, man, you've been absolutely awesome. We really appreciate you coming onto the show, spending your time with us, so that people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, and what you're looking forward to playing in the next few weeks.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun. You can always find me out at my channel, youtube.com/RandallThor19, where, I put up regular videos and whenever there's stuff to talk about. And we got the Xbox 2 podcast with Jez, usually Fridays, but this week it's going to be on Monday because he's on vacation. So, and as for what I'm looking forward to playing, like, the next game I'm really looking to dive into is Plague Tale, Requiem. I love the first game, and I can't wait to see what they do for the sequel.
Yeah, do you hope they kind of go in on that combat? Because that was my problem with Plague's Tale, is the combat was kind of clunky, or not clunky. I don't know. I just kind of needed a bit more from the combat. There wasn't very many options, and I kind of felt like I was running away all the time, which I get was part of the story. So you're hoping to see them develop that combat a bit further, or?
I guess it depends. I don't know. I haven't really. I know there's been a lot of gameplay shown of it, but I haven't watched any of it because I don't want to be spoiled. I don't need to be sold on Plague's Tale. So, I just want the game to be good. So, if you're still running around, I still think the core is gonna be like stealth around. Use the rats and stuff like that. That they, with having light and then the dark. I still think that gameplay loop is probably going to be very similar to the first game.
Yeah,
I don't expect the main character girl to be like, I'm warrior now and I use bows and swords and stuff, right? I don't think that's how it's going to go.
Gameplay loop to me. There's not enough stealth games out there. And the acting in that game is absolutely sensational. Both characters, or all characters in that game, do a sensational job. I know you didn't love it as much as I did, Risket, but I'm really looking forward to that game.
Oh, look, I'm looking forward to it. I just want a little bit more combat, a little bit more to. I like to kill things, in game, not in real life.
It's stealth.
That's not. He meant real life. Don't believe that.
Just to clarify. Cutie, another fire show. Awesome. Thank you for coming through and giving us your takes as always every week. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you'll be playing this week.
Hey, thanks so much. As always, great panel, great chat. Lovely guest. Thank you, Rand, for coming on. We really appreciate it. And thanks for following me back on Twitter. This week I will be...
Not so humble brag.
Oh. hey, I've been a fan for a while, so it's nice to feel validated with a mutual follow.
Aww. Oh, he's following me too. That's lovely. Anyway, Cutie, yep, let us know what you'll be playing, what you're up to.
I'll be finishing again this weekend. I'm doing a write-up for that as well, so look up for that. And obviously I'll be probably look, the Disney Dreamlight game, all right, it's just a little bit addictive. So don't at me, guys. It's really, really fun.
It's definitely not.
You got to tell them about the other game that we were talking about in chat earlier.
What
was that game? The Sims game I was told about.
Oh,
No,
okay. So I was doing the 100 Baby Challenge on The Sims 4. And apparently, because Umbra doesn't watch my streams.
I I was busy. That's all.
So he had no idea. So someone in the Xbox party last night was like, "Yeah, Doomy, she's having 100 babies," and Umbra was like, "What?" There was absolutely no context at all. So yeah, I'm actually haven't jumped in to The Sims for a little while, so maybe I'll do that next week.
And how many babies do you have at this point?
8.
8 babies. Wow, that is you got to get 100. That's yeah. It's going to take you on.
Did say that I could make a character in his likeness, and he would be happy to support.
Risky wants to be a digital baby daddy. You all heard
and then
definitely
and then
didn't say that. That's not what I said.
And then I had this idea that I could just make the whole panel. So look out for that, guys.
Oh my God, that's going to be some ugly babies, I've got to tell you. But look, we'll keep moving on with the outros. Pete, thank you for coming through every week, giving us your takes, spending your time with us, letting people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you're playing this week.
At Twitter, at JediKnightPete, at Xbox, at JediKnightPete. I wanted to say a massive thank you to the man with 1 million, Randall Thor. Amazing. Been watching your podcast for so long, and really you're an inspiration to shows like us, mate. So thank you for coming through. It was awesome talking gaming with you, brother. It really was. Risker, thank you, mate, for coming through. I know you're not feeling very well, bro. So stepping up, doing the podcast as usual. Doomy, Umbra, you guys are amazing. Chat was absolutely on fire today. And I'm going to be playing more Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, definitely. Don't thank me, thank Rand, because if it wasn't for him, I definitely would have cancelled. But moving on.
I did want to say, please send through some more single Halo clips to the official Twitter account. We should have more to say on that next week.
Yes, actually, I will. Just before I go to Umbra's outro, I will say, because I've been really ill this week, and before that, my son was ill, so I haven't had a chance to go through all the clips that you guys have sent through. But if you do send through your clips through to the official Xbox Infinite Twitter account, we will go through them this week. I will have that segment up next week, and the winner will be getting a Modern Warfare 2 global code. So if your clip is chosen, you'll win a code. That's coming from Shooter. He's an absolute
prayers with Shooter at the moment. He's going to hospital today to get an ECG done. His heart's not feeling great, so I hope he feels better and is with us next week.
Shooter.
Absolutely, yeah. Feel better, Shooter. You're an absolute champion.
I've put that link to the Twitter in the chat, by the way. So if you're not sure where to go, that's where to go.
Yep, that's where to go. Send your clip through. And Umbra, another amazing week. Thank you for coming on the show and giving us your takes, and let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to in the next week.
Yeah, man, I had a ball. Rand, I want to thank you, brother, for coming through. Yeah, I took the opportunity. I heard you guys last week, and he was like, "Oh yes, Rand, I'm going on vacation." I'm like, "Oh, are you now?"
That's not how he sounds.
That's his voice.
No, that's
Rand.
not how he sounds.
I think that's authentic. I think that's pretty authentic.
I mean, when did Jez join the podcast?
See that? No, but yeah, seriously though, thank you, brother, for coming through. Even from the last time we talked, we had a good time talking then, so I knew it would be great to have you on, and I just look forward to that. It's not for me, and for all of us, I can say that confidently. It's about us having just good conversations with great people in the community, and you are one of the greats for sure. I've been listening to you for years, yourself, people like Dealer, all of you guys, and you all have made me getting into this, made me want to get into this. So just want to give appreciation to you. Of course, my co-hosts and such, and Risk, man, thanks for coming through and doing you guys' thing always. Risk, I know you're feeling bad, brother. I hope you feel better. I would say like get some bread or something and tighten, make you get more, I guess, solidity. No, I don't know what to say to you.
Salinity. Oh yes.
Yeah, I haven't eaten for 2 days, so yeah, my brain's not really connecting either. So this hasn't been my greatest day.
Down.
Yeah, but
you held it down regardless. Good job, and and thank you to everybody in the chat that came through. I think we had like our most views today. Pretty sure.
It was up there.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody that came through and the supporters and all those of you who always come through to support us. Even you, Steph. And of course, you all can find me on the Umbra Infinite or Infinite Umbra on Twitter. You'll find me either way. And you can find me here, obviously, on Fridays, 8 EST, and on Xbox Factor with Boom and the Cast on Tuesdays at 12 EST.
Absolutely, man. What a great show. I really appreciate all you guys coming through in the chat. You guys have been amazing, except for Evil Ducky. He said something nice. We're going to end it here. That was an absolute, I really appreciate all you guys in the chat. Thanks everyone on the panel. And again, Rand, you're an absolute champion. We really appreciate you coming on and spending your time with us. And we are out.
Later.